guys, so this week we are going to be creating what we call either gradation or value, when something goes from very, very dark to very, very light. And we're going to be making abstract art using this gradation of color from dark to light in our artwork. So abstract artwork is basically anything that is non-representational. So if we were making representational artwork, we would be depicting something, like maybe you're drawing your backyard, maybe you're drawing another person, a bowl of fruit. Those are all objects that we're trying to depict in our artwork. Abstract artwork isn't trying to necessarily show anything in particular. It really focuses on all of our elements and principles of art. So you could have a piece of art that just focuses on line, one that focuses on shape, maybe color, the way that it makes you feel. So it's not representing anything in particular. You can see I've just drawn a bunch of different lines and shapes on my paper after I broke it up into sections. So we're going to be making abstract art out of our gradation. So let's start with that. How do I do a gradation like this? You can see I worked really hard and my dark to light is very smooth in between. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks to help you do that. So I'm using two materials today, and you could use either one of these. You can also do this with marker or paint if you want. That's just a little bit more tricky. So if you have colored pencils or crayons at home, these are the two best things to use, and you can choose which one you'd rather do, or you can use both of them and mix them together. All right, so the first thing you're going to do to practice going from dark to light is you're going to take either your colored pencil or your crayon, and we're going to learn to hold our pencil in a little bit different way when we're coloring. Because typically when we start to color, we hold it like we're writing. So you might hold it like this or like this, and you start coloring like this. The problem with that is that it leaves lines in between our coloring marks on our paper. And I'm also using way too much pressure to start with when I hold my pencil like this. So I like to hold my pencil when I'm shading one of two ways, okay? The first way is to hold your palm out flat and then place your pencil in between these three outside fingers, so like this. And then I'm going to wrap my thumb around, and my pointer finger is going to rest on the top of my pencil, okay? The further down your pencil you hold it, the lighter coloring or the lighter shading you're able to achieve. If I hold it way at the end of my pencil, I'm hardly using any pressure at all, and I'm coloring really, really softly. If I hold it right up here by the tip, I can get a lot more pressure and color very, very dark. So it's kind of up to me where I hold it and what value I'm trying to get. Am I trying to color the darkest I can get? Am I trying to color medium, or am I trying to color light? So you could hold your pencil this way, like you're pointing at something. I like to do that. I also like to hold it kind of like I hold a normal pencil, but I lay it more flat. So my hand is resting on the table and I'm laying my pencil almost flat to my paper. And then I'm coloring in these little circles. So coloring in tiny little circles is a really good tip to get things to blend together better than coloring in straight across lines. It's harder to get everything to blend like that. So when I'm shading, I'm using these tiny little circles, and I'm just starting out very light, and then I'm going back over that same area. So I want you guys to practice doing one box with either your crayon or your colored pencil, whatever you're choosing to use for this project. And what I like to do is I like to start out by putting a really light layer over the whole area that I'm trying to get shaded in. So I'm holding my pencil really flat. I'm also holding it really far back on the pencil, so I'm not putting too much pressure on it. And I'm coloring in these little circles. And I'm gonna put the lightest layer I can over this whole area. And then I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna start making it darker and darker and darker as I move towards this edge. So I'm going really light at first, and I'm using these circles. And then when I reach the end, and that's as light as I can get my pencil, then I'm gonna go back from this same end that's gonna be my dark end. So you've got to decide which side do you want to be your dark and which side do you want to be your light. And I'm just gonna add a second layer, but I'm gonna stop before I get to the end of my first layer. So watch. I'm putting a second layer on. You can see it's darker than my first layer. And I'm gonna stop right about here, right before it gets super light. I'm just gonna stop right here, okay? And then I'm gonna go back to the beginning and I'm going to add another layer, and I'm gonna stop a little bit sooner than that second layer that I just did. So each time I'm leaving a little space of that lighter color. So this is my lightest value. This is my second lightest value. Now I'm going in and I'm adding my third lightest value on top, and I'm gonna stop right before I get to the end, okay? So maybe like right there. And then I'm gonna move my hand a little bit further down my pencil because I want more pressure to make it a little bit darker. And then I'm gonna go in and put another layer on. So this is a very slow process of building this color up if you want it to look really smooth, okay? Our goal isn't to color like super hard right here and then color super like medium right here. That doesn't look quite as nice as building it up in these slow layers. So this does take a little bit of patience, but it turns out really, really nice at the end because you've got all these different shades of blue in this one area. So here's how you can set up your project paper. Of course, you can always draw anything you want, but this week, since we're focusing on abstract art, we do want it to just be like shapes and lines and things like that. So for this project this week, I wouldn't choose to draw like a picture of my dog and shade it in, okay? I'm just choosing things that are lines and shapes and things like that that are gonna be easy areas for me to go in and add these values into. So how I did mine is I broke it up into these little squares, and I thought it would be interesting to do a different abstract line in each one of these squares. And then you can see I started on one side of all of these areas, and I did the same thing that I did on the back here. I put down a really light layer of this color first, and then I put down kind of a little bit darker layer, and then a little bit darker, and then a little bit darker. And pretty soon I was holding my pencil way down here, and I was trying to get the darkest color I could right there in the corner. And I'm trying to use kind of different colors for all of mine. You could pick a color scheme if you want to. So 1 or 2, 3 colors that you want to use on your whole work of art. Or you could do it like me and do each little section of your paper a different color. So we are so excited to see your abstract art this week. Please be sure that you are holding your pencil in a correct way, that you're using your best craftsmanship to shade in really carefully. You can always trim down your paper to a smaller size because this is a time-consuming project, but you can see it's so worth your time at the end. It's really clear that you put a lot of work into this artwork. So we're so excited to see what you make, and we hope you have a lot of fun playing with value this week. Bye!